welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. And if this is your first viewing or listening experience, I want to welcome you. Glad you're here. What's up with you, huh? What's good? What's good? What's really, really, really good? That's a question I like to ask at the beginning of all my podcasts. I'm going to tell you what, everything with me, exceptional, remarkable. I can't complain. I won't complain. It's all good. Whether it's really work, whether it looks as if it's good, it's still good. I know that I've got more working in my favor than I have working against me. And that's the problem. When we see something that's inconvenience or it's out of place or it's uncomfortable, then we think everything is falling apart and it's going to the bad. Nah, that's just showing you that guess what? You need to adjust. You need to alter something. If it's not going in the direction that you want, it is going in the direction that you want. Check this out. It is going in the direction you want, but you're going to have to alter something. You're going to have to change something up in order to get it back in the smooth transition to where you want it to go. It's going in the direction you want to go. You just got to clear up some stuff. You got to do a little bit of alterating, some adapting and adjusting, and then keep moving on. Got that? All right. This is the Act Accordingly series podcast, and I am your host, Daniel J. Williams. And the purpose of this podcast is to show men not only how to identify, but more importantly, how to walk away from certain patterns and habits in our lives that keeps us living in cycles of frustrations. And I did say us because I'm a man. I'm still living life. And as long as I'm going to be living life, there are going to be some hiccups along the way. There's going to be some things that's going to occur that I didn't plan to happen. But you know what? I don't focus on the thing that was the hiccup that came along that I didn't plan on happening. But I'm ready for it. I'm always prepared because I know that life doesn't always happen the way that we want it to happen. So listen, let's get into this because I know you've got things to do. I've got things to do, and I'm not going to prolong this any longer. Yo, today I want to talk about this. The danger of panic attacks. The danger of panic attacks. And that's something that we as men, we're always encountering panic attacks. There's always something that's coming along that causes us to fall into a place of panic, right? So let's first go through this. I got my pen in hand because I got some notes in front of me today. I want to be real strategic with this, and I'm gonna get out the way. All right. So let's first talk about panic. Let's go into the definition of panic. A definition that I found, and I find this one to be very appropriate, is it says panic, sudden extreme anxiety or fear that may cause irrational thoughts or actions. Sudden extreme anxiety or fear that may cause irrational thoughts or actions. So right there, I'm letting you know now that we're not talking about any health issues. We're not talking about getting lightheaded, blacking out, how your hearts begin to race or you start sweating real hard. You can tell I've had some panic attacks in my past before because those are all like symptoms of having a panic attack. But now I'm not talking about the health issues, the symptoms that show up in your body, but we're going to talk about the irrational thoughts or actions. Now, why do we panic anyway? Men usually panic because, you know what? We've come to a place to where we feel like we're no longer in control or have the upper hand in a situation or with a situation or with a person or dealing in a relationship, whether it be in a romantic relationship, a casual relationship, a business relationship, on a team, whatever. When we feel as though we're no longer in control and we don't have the upper hand, then we start to panic. You're like, okay, what am I going to do? Because the ego starts talking, saying, yeah, if you're not in control, then you're being controlled. And it doesn't really have to be that drastic. Does it really have to come to, if I'm not in control, then I'm being controlled? Maybe it's just something that hey, it's not meant to be. It's time to give up on that relationship, time to move on. Maybe you've outgrown that person. Maybe you've outgrown that place. You know, it's just time to move on. It's not about you losing control, because the only way that you can lose influence is if you begin to start operating less than honorable. Because everybody respects an honorable man, a man who's honorable, a man who's upstanding, who stands on his principles and his values, and he doesn't back down off of them. Everybody respects and gives honor to a guy like that, whether they agree with him or not, whether they actually like what he's standing on or not. They respect him. They honor a guy that's like that. So let's talk about this. So what's having the upper hand isn't really being in control. That's being manipulative. Trying to have the upper hand has nothing to do with being in control. That's just trying to be domineering. That's just trying to be manipulative. That's just trying to be a bully. That's just, that's just what that is, you know? So you don't want to have the upper hand, but being in control, what is that? This is what being in control looks like. Being in control is this: for a man, that you have a vision. You have a personal vision for yourself. If you're a single man, you have a personal vision for yourself. And having that personal vision for yourself, you also have a reliable plan to execute your vision to make sure that it's going to come into fruition, that you're going to be able to realize that it's going to be reality. It's going to be tangible. You can have that experience. But what it isn't, you never have a plan B. You never have a plan B, and you never change the vision. You don't need a plan B, and you don't need to change the vision. All you need is a contingency plan, right? You following me? You getting this? All you need is a contingency plan. A contingency plan is no more than this. You leave flexibility for you to be able to augment, alter, or adjust the original plan to fit the situation that you're in right now. The vision is going to remain the same. You still want to go to that destination, but this has occurred right here to where perhaps you didn't expect for this person to, in your team, you didn't expect for this person to quit on you. So now you have to try and alter the way that you're going to move, because you're short a person now. Somebody's going to have to pick up that extra effort and carry the load that person was carrying. It's just something like that. It's nothing to get frazzled about. You're not losing control. It's not going to go down the tubes. You just got to alter the way that you've been moving before. Change it up a little bit. You might have to put in a little bit more effort. It may take a little bit more determination from you, but it can still happen. Same goes with anything. If you're a married man, you're a father, you're a husband, you know what? You got to have a vision. So now your vision goes from just a personal vision for yourself to now you got to have a vision that's going to encompass your entire family. It's going to encompass your wife. It's going to encompass your children, because now everything that you're doing is no longer for you specifically. It's for them. It changes from being on you to like everything I'm doing is for them. It's for them to have a lifestyle that's comfortable, that's conducive for them to grow spiritually, emotionally, and all of that, right? So same thing. You have to have a vision that's going to encompass your family, your wife, your children. That's going to encompass them, right? And then once again, you still have to have a reliable plan. No plan B. No change in the vision, unless that's what God gave you. If you're walking in the wrong vision, you're walking in the wrong thing, and then guys are like, yo, he sits you down and is like, yo, you walking in the wrong direction, man. And he picks you up and gives you a 180 and puts you in the right direction. Then you change the vision then. But otherwise, there's no plan B. There's no change in the vision. But your contingency plan is just remain flexible so that you can just alter what it is that you're doing. You can adjust it a little bit, do a little augmentation to it, and keep it moving towards the vision, right? All right, so often what we like to do is when we panic, this here, I'm going to get to the panic attack, to the part that where we get irrational thoughts and actions. We start to get aggressive. When we're dealing with people and dealing with some circumstances sometimes, I know I've done it. I'm sure I'm not the only man, but I'll get aggressive. When you're dealing with a person, right? And you're dealing with a person, there's a little conflict, little friction going in there. We tend, as men, we want to go and get aggressive. We get aggressive with the person. Either it might be verbal, it could be physical. Don't let it be physical if it's a woman. It really doesn't need to be physical if it's a man too. You got to learn to use your words, man. You got to learn to talk. We're creatures of intelligence. We ought to be able to work things out through communication, through conversation and discussion. But we tend to get an aggressive nature. So our stance might get more aggressive. Our tone may get our volume may go up because we're starting to get passionate about this situation, this thing that we're going through. I feel like I'm losing control. So we get aggressive. Or another irrational thought or action that we'll take is we'll start to withdraw. We'll start to pull back. We'll start to be quiet. We stop having conversations. We stop talking. And normally it's because, we're feeling embarrassed because we don't have all the answers. Like we thought we had all the answers. And whoever said, God never said that, you're supposed to have all the answers. God has all the answers. And if you're relying on God, then that's where your answers will come from. You won't have to be short of answers if you have God directing you in the vision that's supposed to be the vision that you're supposed to be following. Follow me? So we either get aggressive when we start to panic, feel like we're losing control of the upper hand in something, or we withdraw, we pull back, we get silent, we don't talk, and that just makes the situation worse because once we pull back, then vision is not going to be going forward. We're not accomplishing, we're not being productive. Or the final thing, the most drastic thing we do is we start to return to destructive habits, or we just, if we're already having the destructive habits, we magnetize. We magnetize and we exacerbate the problem. Examples. It might be, you go to start hanging at stopping by the bar and hanging out a little longer than you would usually hang out before, or chilling with your mans a little bit more than you used to do before, less time at home. That could be one thing. Or, you start drinking a little heavier. Your drug use increases. Some guys, infidelity becomes a problem. And that right there, now you created an issue where you only had a problem, because you could have easily solved the problem where you thought you had because you thought you were losing control or losing the upper hand. But once you went and added infidelity into your relationship, into your marriage, now you got a real issue. And everything is really worse. But that's another conversation, that's another podcast, another time, right? But those are the irrational thoughts and actions that'll happen when we feel like we're losing control or we're not having the upper hand anymore. Y'all following me? You follow me? I hope you follow me. All right, so listen, whenever things start to be looking uncomfortable, it's not convenient, or it's falling out of place, first thing I'm gonna say is don't retreat. Don't retreat because you got blindsided. It's not a good look in front of your wife. It's not a good look in front of your children. It's not a good look in front of your lady. It's not a good look in front of your team. It's not a good look in front of your group when the leader is frazzled and panicking and acting irrational, doing irrational things. Who's going to want to follow you? If you don't seem like you have a handle on things, that you have a contingency plan for the thing that came through, you know what? You're not even blindsided, because remember, you're being flexible. You're being open to be able to alter the plan, adjust it this way, augment it that way, so you can continue to keep going. So you're never in a place of panic. You're never frazzled. You never want your children to see you in a place of panic. It makes them insecure. It makes them feel as though, I don't know if I can trust dad, yo. He looking a little shaky over there. The wife would be like, yo, he looking real unstable over there. You know, I'm not saying that you have to put on a front. You can be honest, have a conversation and be like, all right, right now, I don't know what I'm gonna do at the present moment, but I've got this. Just reassure them. Don't panic. If you don't have the answer right then, just say, yo, I don't have the answer right now, but rest assured, we good. We still good. I got a contingency plan. I got a contingency plan for this. And this is the final thing that I'm gonna give you. And no, let me give you this final thing. This is biblical. Go to Proverbs 15 and 22. This is biblical. Go to Proverbs 15 and 22. You want to avoid panic attacks? Well, I already told you that. You know what? First, you know what? You need to be having a vision, and you need to have a reliable plan to execute the vision. Don't have a plan B. Don't be looking to change the vision just because some interruptions, some inconveniences, some uncomfortable moments come along, some things that you didn't expect. You got thrown off your game. Do not panic. Don't fall back. Don't get irrational. Don't go get emotional and get all aggressive and trying to force and fit something. Don't get embarrassed and withdraw and pull back. Don't go into destructive, irrational behavior. Don't go out hanging out a little bit. That's not going to help solve the problem. You're not going to be thinking about the solution. How can you alter this thing and get it back on track? How to get the velocity going back in a forward motion. Again, thinking irrational, acting irrational, it's not going to handle it. This is what you do. Proverbs 15, 22. Plans go wrong for lack of advice. Many advisors bring success. It alludes to something that I always talk about. Stop being so prideful that you don't ask for help. Scripture says, these are words that's coming from the wisest man that lived, Solomon. Plans go wrong for lack of advice. Many advisors bring success. In your vision, remember I said, having a vision, if God gave you a vision, then he's going to give you a reliable plan. And sometimes the reliable plan always comes from God, but sometimes he uses humans, he uses people to give you advice, give you guidance, to show you and give you instructions on probably the best way to go about something. But if you're so prideful and believe that you have to have all the answers and only you can figure it out because you want to be King Kong and pound your chest, then you're going to end up in a place of having panic attacks. And having those panic attacks, you're going to go to irrational thoughts and actions and exacerbate everything. You're either going to prolong it, delay it, or you're going to derail it altogether. And I wouldn't want to see that for you, man. If this has been of any value to you, this is what I want you to do. I want you to send me an email. Here's my email. The number 2, actaccordingly@gmail.com. And if you're not following me on my social media platforms, I don't know why you're not following me on my social media platforms. You should be. Here's my social media platforms. For Facebook, you just want to go to Daniel J. Williams. Go to Daniel J. Williams on Facebook. And on Instagram, 2 different accounts. You want to go to the number 2, Act Accordingly. That's one account. The other account, the word 1, O-N-E, the number 2, Triumph. 1 to Triumph. The word 1, the number 2, Triumph on IG. You can either shoot me an email, or when you go on to my social media platforms, hit me in the DM. Let me know that this is of value to you. Let me know if it's helping you at all. Let me know if there's topics that you'd like for me to touch on and discuss. I love your input, man. I love to hear from you. I would love to hear. I love to hear that this is actually benefiting somebody. And I've got a lot of things coming up. Website is being in construction, the way you're going to be able to go on and subscribe to my private men's community. Yo, I'm going to be having master classes coming up. I'm going to have courses that you can go on and purchase that's talking about subjects just like this, talking about panic attacks and the dangers of panicking. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. I'll talk about the health issues, the symptoms, health-wise, what it'll do to your body for being in a place of panicking and what it can do to you as far as stress on your body goes. But more importantly, yo, I don't want you to be acting irrational and having irrational thoughts and then be looking like, yo, you got everybody that's dependent on you and looking to you. They're looking at you and like, they feeling real insecure because they're like, yo, he's looking real shaky over there. I don't know, man, if I want to keep following this dude. So you don't want to fall into a place of panic. Remember, don't get blindsided. You can't get blindsided when you're flexible, when you have contingency plans, when you're able to adjust and alter the route, but keep the vision the same. This is the Act Accordingly series podcast. I'm your host, Daniel J. Williams. I'll see you the next time. Yo, remember, man, act accordingly. Panic attacks, not a good look. All right? 1.